Hey guys, so before I start this video editing photo gacha editing tutorial, I wanted to thank you guys so much for 1,800 plus subscribers. It means a lot to me. And also, if you guys hear a lot of bird chirping, is because it's my bird, and my bird loves to be very loud for absolutely no reason. And also, my windows are open because it's boiling hot in my room, and I need them open so I don't die from heat. So you're gonna hear a lot of cars as well. Okay, let's get to the video. So first of all, I make a new layer and I get this square thing in the touchpad so you guys could just look what I'm doing. I'll just explain it better. I make it into this bright purple. I go back to the layer and lower the opacity of the square / layer. And then I make another layer, so this would be the third layer. And on this, I turn on the whatever it's called, I don't know. And I put it all the way to 100%. And then I select the color, the outlining of the hair, and then I make it a bit darker and just make lines for the eyebrows. And I just do that with all of the characters. So for the shading of the body, I add an extra layer, and for this, I have to lower the opacity of the purple layer completely down to 0%. And then I go over to the fourth layer. I zoom in and I get the magic wand or whatever it's called, and then I select like the sides of the face and the top of the head because that's the parts I want to shade. And if you want to if you want to adjust or like erase some parts of the places you selected, you have to go back to the layers and go to like the selection layer. And if you want to erase some places that you added the magic wand to, you click on the eraser and then erase it. But if you want to add, you just have to get the brush and color the part where you want the magic wand to be. And you can see that what I'm doing right here. I'm just adjusting where I put the magic wand. Okay, now for the coloring and the shading, we go back to the purple layer and we bring up the opacity just a bit so we can have a shading of the background. Then we go back to the fourth layer and we have to bring down the fourth layer below the purple layer. This is because if you try to color over the corally color that we have to do for the shading, it will look like an orangey color. So that's why we have to put the layer behind, as you can see. So I just have to put the layer behind the purple, and then it's more of that coral color that I like. And then you just do like this, shade the sides of the characters wherever you had the magic wand, and basically just do that with all of the characters, and you'll be almost done with the shading. There's still one more step. This is the last step for the shading of the body. You just have to go to the blur and just blur out all of the places you shaded, so it could give like a nice shaded effect. And then if you think it's too like bright and pink for the face, you can just go to eraser and lower the opacity of the eraser and just make a big brush and just like dab over the colored parts you think it's just a bit too pink for your liking. Now we have to make another layer, but that has to be above the one of the layers. Like it's gonna be the next layer. It's gonna be the fifth layer, and you have to make it the adjustment multiply, and again do that 100% thing on the touchpad or whatever it's called, and just select the color of the hair and use the airbrush 20% trapezoid and just start shading like the corners of the hair, like how I'm doing. So this next step is pretty much the same. You go on the same layer and use the pen, dip pen hard, and you just don't remove any of the adjustments you've done and just start doing the exact same thing right next to the airbrush areas. And you can even skip some if you like how I'm doing. And you just have to shade the exact way you did with the airbrush. Okay, for this next step, you have to add another layer and use the adjustment add. And for this, you make use the same pen, but just make the lines a bit thinner. And for this one, the difference is that you're kind of making the hair stick out more. Like, instead of just going inside of the lines of the hair, you can come out so it can make it a bit more realistic. That's what I like doing with this. So it makes it a glowy effect. This next step is honestly optional because it depends on the edit you're doing, but if you want to make someone look more sad, I like adding an extra layer, then just making a little circle around the nose, and then going onto that layer and lowering the opacity, so it kind of makes it look like the shading you can do in actual Gacha Club and Gacha Life. For this next step, you need to add another layer, and you make this layer, I believe it was called the blending mode, and you turn it on to add, and like this. This is for the tears. Again, it's optional if you want to make someone look sad. You turn on the force fade and put the length of start and length of end both at 100%. Don't do what I just did on like the drawing tool. Don't click the squiggly line. I accidentally pressed that. That was on accident, as you can see. You don't do that. So let's just say I never did that. Pretend I never did that. Now next, you make the pen very thin, and you just make a little circle, and then I like just doing a line for the next for the tears, and then make a huge clump on the very end of the eye. Then you just draw a line, and if you want the tear to fall down, and make this like little circle right there. Sorry for that dog. I don't know. That's not mine. I'm scared of dogs. Okay. And then next, do the same thing for the other eye. And I also forgot to mention that when I make the tears, I like making this like random line on the top of the eye. I accidentally did the bottom, like just a random line. It makes it look more teary. Next, you go onto you make a new layer, and then you get the airbrush trapezoid 20%, and you make make a new layer, and then you use the blending mode add, and then you select the color of the eye, and then just like do little brush strokes so it doesn't look so splotchy. But yeah, I think you guys could just see what I'm doing. I'm very bad at explaining things. For the last part of the shading of the eye, you make a new layer, and once you make that new layer, you don't have any blending mode, and you go and turn off the force fade. And after you turn off the force fade, you have to change the color of the pen. Oh wait, you have to change the pen to dip pen hard, and make sure it's the color, you use the color black, and I like using the thickest pen. And then just color over like a little arch over the eye for both eyes. And then after you do that, you basically just have to not lower the opacity, you have to erase the excess and just have it on the eye only. And then after you do that, you just lower that opacity, and and then I would recommend putting this layer below all the layers for the eye, so that all the shiny layers can stand out even more. For, I believe, the final step, I don't remember. Well, no, sorry, not the final step. But next, you add a new layer, and for the blending mode, you have to use add. So as you can see, I'm doing that right now. And once you use add, you go onto the character, make sure you have dip pen hard, and basically you go to the character, select the hair color, and then draw like a very thick line onto the hair. It doesn't matter if there's excess, just a huge thick line on the hair. And after you do that, you erase the excess of the line. I accidentally pressed that instead of eraser. So you have to erase it, and then you draw random erase random small lines on the strip. As you'll see what I do. It'll make more sense if you guys just look. Now this step, again, it's optional because it depends on the edit you're doing. So I'm just going to save transparent PG or whatever it said. And then we're going to import the same picture. So once you import the same picture, we're basically going to just blur out the entire, cancel, the entire canvas except the one person I don't want blurred. And yeah, that's how I made this specific edit.